So I was 7 when my weight first became an issue, and it never stopped being an issue. My parents constantly told me that I was getting chubby and that I needed to lose weight. I was made fun of by the neighborhood boys all the time for my weight. I was always told to suck my gut in, like always told that to the point where it's just a habit at this point. I was told to go on a liquid diet at a very young age, and when I couldn't do it, I was told that I have no willpower and I just love to eat too much. I was told many times that I'm never going to be loved if I'm not skinny. I'm not going to get the part in the play if I'm not skinny. I'm not going to be popular if I'm not skinny. And basically, the fact that I'm not skinny is the reason why I have all the problems that I have. The amount of times I was told that I would be absolutely stunning if I lost weight. Like that beauty's there, but only at a particular weight. I would be oinked at when I ate. I was called a pig by a family member. No wonder my weight has been such an insecurity. It's crazy, I wonder why. Just my body and my weight has always been deemed as a problem. I just remember my mom always telling me, you need to lose weight. You need to do this. It's the answer to everything. And I always kind of wondered, why does my own mom hate my body so much? I mean, if she hates it, it must be bad. It's I figured that, if my family hated my body so much, it had to have been for a good reason, right? I mean, I was just a kid. I would believe anything my family told me. And so I started to hate my body too. A lot. So much that I would mistreat it constantly. I hated being told that I couldn't eat something, so I would eat 3 of it. My whole concept of hunger or fullness cues, I did not understand the concept of that, and I don't even really think I cared at that point. I really didn't love myself nearly enough to actually listen to my body and treat it right. In fact, I was told that I should hate my body, so why would I suddenly start listening to it? And in turn, I gained weight all throughout high school, and it was really to the point where I just reached a state of pure misery. And it's I knew I could get myself out of it. I knew it was always possible, but mistreating myself was just so, normal. Treating my body like I hate it was all that I really knew. I had no idea how to actually make a change, and so my weight just kind of stayed up. Until 2015, when I went vegan. And while I did not stay vegan forever, for numerous reasons I'm not going to get into today, it did really teach me how to actually appreciate food for the first time. It really showed me how to fuel my body. It showed me how, it taught me how to cook. It taught me how to just appreciate food as something more than just a tool to mistreat myself. I had lost some weight and I really did like the lifestyle a lot. It did teach me that food can be enjoyed in a way that's not destructive, and I did need that. Unfortunately, I was too young and just had too much ahead of me. Just simply making a dietary change just wasn't going to be enough to actually reverse just the years of mistreatment and the years of limiting beliefs and stories, and so didn't really stick to some of the positive changes I was making. Everything was fine until 2017 happened. And in 2017, a lot of really difficult things happened to me in a very short period of time, and at the time I just didn't really know how to cope. So what did I do? I went right back to overeating. I gained 60 pounds in a year. I would eat constantly. I was very conscious of it. I was very aware of what was going on, but I just had no idea how to help myself, or I did not know the first thing to do in terms of getting better. So that went on for a good year and a half, and again, I gained 60 pounds in a year. The best way I could describe how I was feeling is that at that time I felt very empty, and it's almost like I turned to food as a way to fill me up, if that makes sense. It made me feel full again, to the point where I was physically and uncomfortably full. I would say that 2017 was the beginning of the worst years of my life. So 2018 and 2019 were pretty rough as well. That was definitely my personal rock bottom, and I'm not going to go too into what was going on, but it was just the fact that I felt completely detached from reality, and I just didn't know how to be present, and I didn't really know how to help. But in mid-2019, I had an epiphany. I decided that I was done living the way that I was living, and I was ready to get into the gym. I was ready to start eating better, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do better. So I did better. And within a year, I lost about 83 pounds. I have another video talking more about my weight loss journey linked down below if you want like the full story there. But about a year after losing the weight, I developed a and it happened because I was so scared of regaining the weight. Like, while I was really working on my mental health and I was working on healing, just I had years and years of stories and damage and just all of these things to go through, and that takes longer than 6 months. That takes longer than a year. That takes many years of work, and it was the very beginning stages for me, and I just was still not in a place where I was ready to actually treat myself truly better. It's like the weight loss journey was a wonderful step in the right direction, but bringing in that made it a little bit difficult. I became a personal trainer, and that was awesome, but I dealt with a lot of imposter syndrome. Like, when you're told your entire life that you're overweight, that you're unhealthy, when you got fat shamed on the internet on the daily, when you'd get dirty looks in person, like when everybody was so mean to you, and then suddenly a pandemic happens, you lose a lot of weight, and then you come back to real life as a personal trainer. It's like, again, the physical and the mental, they don't just catch up that quickly. It was very, very hard for me to feel deserving and to feel worthy, and I think that my moments where I would kind of overeat and think that was self-sabotage. I think that was me still not feeling worthy of my new life and just my new reality. But fortunately, by the end of 2021, I was done with it, and I never looked back. Just when I got my own apartment in 2021, I told myself, I'm not bringing that side of myself to this place. I am leaving it at the door, and I did that. But now that I think about it, the problem didn't end. The problem just shifted into something new. I got really into lifting, and more specifically bodybuilding, and the idea of like competing in a physique competition just sounded awesome, so I kind of started bulking and cutting cycles. In 2022, I gained some weight. I was training really hard. I definitely had built some muscle, but then I wanted to try a cut. And so in the summer of 2022, I did a cut from about May of 2022 to like the end of August of 2022. And in those few months, in hindsight, like I was so hungry all the time. It was really hard for me to do anything, but I loved the validation. Everybody was complimenting me, people at the gym, my friends, like my dating life was kind of popping around that time. Just, I was getting all the validation that I had been seeking. Like, all of the times when I was told as a kid that, like, okay, if you don't do this, like, if you don't, like, lose the weight, you're just not gonna be lovable and your life's never gonna be what you want it to be. Like, I was seeing things getting better in a lot of ways. So I'm like, oh, okay, like, this cut worked. I'm getting everything that I want, finally, but it was at the expense of my well-being and really my overall health and my energy levels. I just felt like it was so cool that I was getting all this external validation, but internally I felt awful. It was so hard for me to do all of this. And I was just like, well, I'm so disciplined. I did it. Like, that's so cool. Like, I would try to like hype myself up about it, but that's not okay. And so I decided to reverse diet and try bulking because I'm like, well, I like my shape, but I would like more muscle. So I tried to reverse diet. I totally failed at it. I gained way more weight than I needed to. I bulked, and then I ended up gaining like 30 pounds in 3 months, and I was so mortified that I couldn't even like leave my apartment for a time. So then I cut again, and then I went traveling, and I was in Asia for over 2 months, and in this period of time, I was not worried about my body. I was not worried about my weight. I was eating whatever I wanted. I was living freely, and I really feel like for the first time I had permission to just be. But then I got home and cut again. But then I traveled again and gained more weight. And then I cut again. Like, are you sensing a pattern here? Where I am gaining like 10 to 30 pounds, and then I'm losing it, and then I'm gaining it, and then I'm losing it. It just kept going and going and going. So let's bring us to the present. So 2024, I spent pretty much most of my time in a cut, and by about May of 2024, I was the leanest that I had ever been. Loved my body, but again, on 4th of July weekend, I gained 10 pounds, which was mostly just from like drinking and like, yeah, definitely indulging with like food and stuff, but just, like when you kind of do something out of your usual routine and your body reacts to it, like I gained 10 pounds and I just figured, oh, like this will just go away. Like it's fine. But it didn't. That weight stayed, and even with going back to my usual routine, I did it and I was like, okay, like I'm gonna tough through this. I want to lose those 10 pounds again that I gained in a singular weekend. And that weight never came off. And I finally realized, like, oh, I think my body is working against me. Maybe under eating like this, and maybe an hour on the Stairmaster, and maybe just the fact that my lifts are almost impossible now. I don't think this is working. I was used to barely having the energy to even do my job or be present for my friends. Like that was something that I was just kind of used to. And it's like I would stick to that like 5 days a week, and then the other 2 days a week I would kind of eat whatever I wanted, but then I would overeat, and I was in a cycle. But like I never saw what I was doing as a problem. I would like celebrate my weight loss, and the people around me would too, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so disciplined, I'm doing it. And it's like, no, this isn't normal. And it really hit me just how abnormal this was at the end of July in 2024 when I was just going through Trader Joe's, getting my usual stuff, and I remember I walked past those like peanut butter filled pretzels, and I was like, oh my God, I really like those, but I can't have them. And then I realized as I was walking through the aisles that there were a lot of things that I just really would have wanted, but I wouldn't let myself have it. I just thought like, oh, well, I can't eat that. That's not on my plan. That's not in my calories. I'll gain weight if I eat that. And then I realized, oh, these are fear foods. And then once I thought about it, I realized I have a lot of fear foods. And that was just kind of a observation that I made. I didn't really have a huge revelation, but then a few days later, I was talking to a coworker and I did mention, yeah, I don't have fear foods. I fear all foods equally. I told her that I feel like I have to have an all or nothing mindset, but that I just don't feel like I have any other choice. That I'm just trying to be leaner, but it's not even working anymore. My weight wasn't moving at all. And I just felt trapped in a cycle that would never end. And I realized it was because I was still chasing thinness. I was still holding on to the beliefs that, well, if I'm not thin, which I don't even really know what that actually meant for me, that if I'm not thin, then I'm gonna be single forever, I'm gonna lose, I'm not gonna progress in my career, that things aren't gonna work out for me. Because I've been told that since I was 7 years old, and I've been chasing that my entire life, and I was chasing all of this external validation, and I've just been making myself absolutely miserable in the process. And she told me, that I'm doing this for my inner child that just wants to be loved and appreciated and good enough. And I never felt that way as a kid. I was never made to feel like I was worth anything as a kid. But I was made to believe that I would only be worth it if I was thin. And so it's not surprising that that's how I've been living, and that's what I've been chasing my entire life. I just feel like I can't even get anything done. I just feel so spacey, and I have a 9-hour day ahead, and I just don't know how I'm gonna push through, but I miss feeling like I was full of life. And, you might be wondering, how restrictive was my diet? I mean, I wouldn't even let myself eat peanut butter. I would say no to dates, or I would say no to hanging out with people because I can't go off track with my diet. I just had an all or nothing mindset, and nothing about that was healthy. And that it's not living a full life. Just why did I move to Seattle? Why did I go on this weight loss journey? Why have I done all of these things to improve my life if I don't even let myself enjoy life? If I'm just constantly chasing something that isn't even true. Because you know what? I never had to earn anybody's love. My body was never going to be the answer to having anything I want. Like, I was always good enough. I was always enough. Being enough was my birthright. Anything else I do is just extra. But I didn't know any better as a kid, but I know better now. I'm 30 years old, and I am not going to let the stories that 7-year-old me was told dictate the rest of my life. I'm just done with it. I'm sick of struggling my way through a job that I actually do enjoy. I'm ready for life to get a little bit easier. It just shouldn't be this hard. Like, it got to the point where I could barely have a good workout. I lost a lot of strength. I would feel mentally spacey throughout the day. My digestion's awful, and I just barely even had it in myself to show up for the people that I love. And like, I know that I needed so much more fuel to get through my day, but I was scared to gain weight. That's really it. You know, which, again, for my whole life, I was told that a lower weight will give me everything I want, and I was really internalizing that for most of my life. So now, I've decided that enough is enough. I am done living like this, because it is not working for me anymore. I am done weighing myself. I'm done tracking my food. I've deleted all my tracking apps. I gave away my scale, and I am ready to begin a life of food freedom. And now this does not mean that I'm gonna now just start eating 10 donuts a day, because that's not intuitive either. I want to actually eat more fruits and vegetables. I want to enjoy cooking again. I want to enjoy food again. Like, I want to feel amazing by just fueling my body properly. And yes, I do want to enjoy a treat guilt-free if I want it. Because you know what? There is no good or bad food. It is just food. And I want to start listening to my body, and I want to start trusting it, and I want my body to start trusting me. I know I haven't given my body very good reason to in the past, but I want to do better from now on. I'm about to move into my own apartment in a neighborhood that I love in Seattle, and I am not bringing that side of me with me. I am leaving her at the door. I am not going to count calories. I am not going to choose what I think will make me the leanest, or I'm not going to choose things that are the healthiest. I am going to choose what I think is right for my body in that moment. And I know I have a lot to learn. I am still learning how to listen to my body for the first time ever. I'm still figuring out how to really listen to and trust my hunger and fullness cues. I'm still learning what is enough for me. And I know that the longer I heal, the easier that's gonna get. And I know that I have a lot of healing and my body needs to heal with me. And I know I just have to be patient, and I need to keep working with my body, and I need to keep taking it one day at a time. I'm very excited. I'm very open, but I won't lie. I am a little terrified. I really am. I've been dieting my entire life. Like, this is all I know. I am setting myself free, and it's exciting, but it's scary. It's unfamiliar. I'm throwing away my entire foundation. I'm setting a new foundation, and I'm building it as I go, and that's cool. I will be honest, I am scared to gain weight. I'm sure that I will initially. I'm throwing out my scale, so I won't be able to say for sure. Like, I really don't know how my body's gonna change, but I have to just accept whatever body is going to come with the healing that I'm doing. Instead of thinking about weight gain, I'm trying to focus on all of the other things that I will gain. Like mental clarity, like the energy to get through the day, like better quality workouts and actually maybe feeling strong again. Again, probably much better hunger and fullness cues, and that will get better with time. And also just more space to give to my friends, to my clients, to my family, and of course, just more energy to really give into and really pour into myself. I get to explore new parts about myself. Chronically dieting isn't gonna be a personality trait anymore. I have new things to learn about myself, and that's so cool. I'm so excited to learn who I really am. I am so excited to finally be the person that I could have been if I wasn't given the mission at 7 years old to be as thin as possible. It's like I finally have a chance. And I'm really excited about it. Yeah, I'm sure that I have so much to learn about myself and so much to discover now that food won't be the forefront of my life, now that I don't have to think about it or worry about it or stress about it 24/7. I really don't know what's gonna happen, but I know that I deserve my best chance. And I know that this is right for me. So, Here's to finally setting myself free. For good this time. It's kind of crazy to be making a croissant breakfast sandwich on a Saturday morning, and I'm making the coffee I want. I would have rarely let myself do this 3 months ago. It's actually crazy to think about how much has changed. Since filming part 1, I moved out of my old place, I went to Japan and Taiwan, and I moved in somewhere new. I have been giving recovery and healing my best shot. I'm very proud to say that I have lived without any food rules for 2 months now. How have the last 2 months been? Well, amazing and awful at the same time. Let me start with the hard part. I've definitely gained weight, and I actually don't know the exact amount. I estimate it's at least 15 pounds or so. I definitely look wider. I'm definitely fluffier. Most of my clothes still fit, but my body's changed. I'm not going to say that dealing with body image has been easy. It's actually been really, really hard, like intensely hard. I don't feel as confident in my clothes anymore. I look at myself in my work mirror and I don't usually like what I see. And honestly, I barely liked what I saw before all this, so I have to remind myself that not much has really changed in terms of my mindset, and that everyone struggles with body image just regardless of the body they live in. So I'm trying to give myself some grace, but it's hard. Sometimes I wonder if someone at work will see me and think, so I guess the gym will just let anyone work here. Sometimes I think someone will judge me for my weight because that's what I was so used to when I was in a bigger body. And then I remember that those are all just stories I've been told. I don't have to claim that. If someone doesn't accept me at my healthiest and happiest, then why would I want them around anyway? And I know this, and it's easier said than done. I can know these things, and it can still be really hard to live with, but I am practicing seeing and knowing my worth, and it's not an overnight switch, but I do think I am making progress. Living with weight gain and combating it by not going back to my old ways is hard, but so is being chronically starving. So I chose my hard. I do look in the mirror and wonder if I'll ever feel good about myself again. I don't know how long I'll continue to gain weight. I'm not sure. I do feel like my body needs more time, but I do know that I will find my set weight at some point, so I'm trying to be patient. Another challenge has been trying to figure out what eating enough looks like. I'm so used to overeating or undereating. That's all I've done my whole life, so what is the right balance? And it's hard for me to answer that because it's different every day. It depends on how active I was that day, if my time of the month is coming. Just every day is different, and I'm learning how to listen to my body to figure out what she needs on that particular day. And I'm trying not to compare it to what I needed the day before. There's been a few times where I've overate, and there's been a few times where I know I didn't eat enough, and I'm learning through it all. And honestly, those are the only bad parts about it so far. So I have to talk about the amazing parts of it. I have so much energy now. Yeah, the Seattle winter is starting, and I think that makes everyone a little more tired by default. And yes, I still deal with energy fluctuations sometimes, but compared to how spacey, lightheaded, and out of it I felt before, I have made a 180. I don't have to fight for my life just to get through the day anymore. I can get through my workday and hardly even feel it. I can actually work out and enjoy it. Like, I'm building my strength back, and I'm able to have a challenging workout and still feel fine to finish my day. Like, I used to struggle to walk upstairs sometimes, but now I'm good, and I feel great, in fact. I don't think about food 24/7 anymore. I still love food. I look forward to eating something delicious, and I think about what I want to order for takeout or what I might want for lunch tomorrow, but it doesn't consume my mind the way it used to. I don't think about how to avoid eating, and I don't think about what I'll eat when I will allow myself to overeat. I think about food in pretty reasonable amounts, I'd say. I've had more mental space to focus on other interests, like making videos and playing guitar, and plus I actually can put some time into food-related interests I do have. I give myself permission. I love baking, and I've actually been able to do that. I love trying new recipes and cocktails. I love making coffee drinks, and I like trying new restaurants, and I can actually do that now if I want to. It's so freeing, but it's made my life so much easier and so much less stressful. I don't say no to plans anymore. I don't overly restrict myself. I don't have planned binges. Just my mindset with food is a lot better. I can eat whatever I want when I want. It's a sense of freedom I've never really had before. And it's crazy, I don't really crave the foods I used to crave as often. And sometimes, sure, I do love a sweet treat, but I don't think about them as constantly. And when I do have one, I feel satisfied with less. I don't feel like I have to eat the whole box of ice cream sandwiches. I can have one, and that's enough, and that's really cool. Plus, I have the mental capacity to focus more on my friendships and my family and my job, and I used to feel so depleted all the time, and it was so hard for me to give my best self to anybody, but that just feels like a distant memory now. I'm really grateful for the breakdown I had over the summer. It led me to a breakthrough that I really needed. As I move into my new place, I decided that I would leave that part of me at the door, and I have really honored that. Through the ups and downs, I'm really proud of myself. It's hard to set yourself free. It's hard to do something despite believing that it'll ruin your whole life. And fortunately, it hasn't ruined my life so far. It's actually made it a lot better. I really love the woman that I'm becoming. I love my energy, and I love all the possibilities, and I'm really excited to see where all of this takes me. I'm still just getting started, and I still have so much to learn, but I'm up for it. So, here's to finally being free.